Three, two, one.
So we got the thing that's trying to restrain Mr. Fantastic, and Mr. Fantastic can be pretty formidable when he wants to. You know, as you can see, he can give the thing a tough time, but eventually they calm him down, and you know, they reason with him, and Mr. Fantastic certainly finds he's got all these contraptions, and he finds a way to track. He's got a sonar to track the Submariner. And I'm sure the Thing and the Human Torch are talking about how brilliant Reed is, and so they decide to enlist in the help of Doctor Strange. This is how the Torch does it, and I believe that the Human Torch met Doctor Strange in a comic book that they actually shared together in another series. And there's Doctor Strange, and he finds the message, the you know, the urgent message, and he goes into his astral form, and he is able, with the aid of his amulet, the Eye of Agamotto, he's able to find Reed Richards. So it's nice that Marvel can incorporate these things that just become very convenient for our heroes, like the amulet there. So as you can see, Doctor Strange visits the Fantastic Four, and he's a bit of an apparition. Well, he's an apparition, and it looks like the Thing is. This might have been the Thing's first encounter, although I think the Torch has met him before. I'm not sure, but the Thing is not sure exactly what he's dealing with here. So Doctor Strange goes off on his own, his astral projection, and he goes under in the sea, and he is looking for Namor and the captured Sue Storm, and Submariner is trying to woo Sue Storm into being his bride, and you can see the anguish on his face. And Jack Kirby is very good about that. He's just, why, you know, I can give you everything. You're my bride. You know, you can be the queen of Atlantis, and he just beside himself. He can't figure it out. Now, another convenient thing that the Fantastic Four have is they have a capsule that they're able to swallow, and they can actually walk around underwater for an hour. They have an hour. Okay, but they're in a capsule here where I guess there's actually air, obviously, to keep, otherwise you couldn't keep Sue alive, but she's also trapped there. So Mr. Fantastic that goes after, he uses his pliable body to make a bolo, and get the Submariner wrapped up. The Submariner is able to you know, get him off his feet and wrap him up, but as I said before, you know, Mr. Fantastic is pretty formidable in the way that he uses his body, his superpower, and he takes a swing, and you can see the Submariner ducks, and, you know, throws a punch, a couple of them, but he misses Mr. Fantastic. And I really enjoy the back and forth you have here, and nobody really gets the upper hand. You know, it's very temporary, and I thought that was I enjoy how Jack is able to do that. He can stretch out a fighting scene for a full issue without somebody actually landing a punch, and that's always really impressed me about him. Then you got Mr. Fantastic becomes a wheel, and he's able to evade the Submariner, and Submariner's got his Royal Guard that comes out and you know, traps Mr. Fantastic there, and and evidently Mr. Fantastic was on his own. He went out on his own for some reason, and Doctor Strange returns to tell the Torch and the Thing that Mr. Fantastic is in trouble. So they take their undersea capsules so they can breathe, and Doctor Strange is able to transport them to the lair, to the underground lair of or kingdom of Namor, and just in time too, because they're shooting at Mr. Fantastic, but they're unable to hit him. And so you've got the Torch, who torches the guns of Namor's members of his guard there, And now one thing about the torch is that, you know, this is way back when, so you know, there's some real damage the torch could have done to people, but he couldn't do that back then. So rather than torch the villain, he typically actually just uses his flame to disable the villains, is what he'll do. And so now we got the it looks like the guard has been run off, and now the runs off, and the thing and Namor are going to go at it there, but Richard says, you know, this is my wife, it's my fight, so I wanna have at it. And so Mr. Fantastic actually injures himself, you know, by making a you know, a giant fist or whatever it is, a mallet, to try to get to strike the Submariner. But he's only momentarily stunned, and actually I think he was actually feigning injury to get the Namor to come close to him. He wraps him up here, and looks like the Royal Guard doesn't quite finish off completely, but the thing makes quick work of him there. And Sue Storm is trying to get out. The torch finds, you know, is able to get her out, and they're trying to find the way out now, and there's but they're under surveillance. So in the you know, so their escape has been broadcast, and they're still in danger. So they open up this I think they open up some kind of a lock and allows the water to come in, which isn't good for the torch there. But teaming up together, and there are creative ways that Jack and Stan unite these heroes to combine their superpowers to do something like this, where you have Sue Storm create it looks like a force, it's not a force bubble, but a square that is able to get this onslaught of water to subside, and the torch is able to turn it into steam by increasing his temperature. So so that threat is ended, but you have another surveillance camera that is quickly dispatched by the torch also. So there's a backlash there, and so now they're going to go after, try to find Reed. And the thing is, he's decided he's not gonna, you know, if he's not gonna fight Namor, I guess he's just gonna make, you know, toy with his henchmen, and I guess step in when he has to. And at this point, Namor does get the upper hand, and he does knock the wind out of Mr. Fantastic. You see how he goes limp there, and I thought that's nice imagery there. You can see that just by the hand there that, you know, Reed is unconscious there, but it looks like he's trying to get up again, and now. The Thing wants to have his way with he's got his fist out, you know, he's ready to strike Namor there, but the Royal Guard comes up again and zaps him with some type of an energy beam, but it doesn't stop the Thing. He's pretty tough, and he's still going at him. And but this distraction allows Reed to regain consciousness, and it's another near miss. It's just, I don't know how this happened, you know, but he goes after the Namor with a bowling ball hand, and misses him. He's not able to actually make contact. It looks like he's got him subdued here. And Namor had asked the page before that, why are you still fighting? And he says, well, I'm fighting like any man would, you know, for the woman that he loves. So we have the battle that goes on here, and again, I mean, you've got this fighting here, and like Jack Kirby, like I said, is really good with this, where you don't have a lot of punching that actually connect, punches that connect, and like I said, just a lot of you know, wrestling and, you know, just strange things like this, unusual fighting, which you can expect from a guy who can stretch his body. But it's still interesting. There's still a lot of action without a lot of, you know, physical contact. And this is probably where Reed gets the best upper hand that he's gotten throughout this battle, and is able to take Namor and make himself into a bull, and then Namor's the arrow, and he actually shoots him. Shoots him so he shoots him with such power that that he's able to actually looks like knock out knock out some of his royal guard there. So the thing is, looks like he's recovered, and the Thing and Reed are wondering exactly what to do next, and they're not exactly sure. They're discussing it, and Namor he's really upset now because this is very humbling for somebody who's a priest and they got another weapon, or a prince, not a priest, a prince. So Namor's got his weapon and his royal guard is recovered, or maybe these are others. They blast the Thing, but nothing happens, and so now he's even more frustrated. And Namor goes after it looks like a desperate attempt here, where he's just going after just a full-on assault on Mr. Fantastic, but his blow doesn't land because Sue has a mental force field around Reed and the Thing. And at this point, basically, the Submariner realizes that Sue really has made her choice, and you can tell he's thinking about that there. She's apologizing, and she's like saying something to the effect of, "I'm sorry, if you felt like I led you on, and you're a nice enough guy, but I'm married, or I'm going to be married." And Reed is the guy that I choose, and plus I breathe air most of the time, so it probably wouldn't work. Doctor Strange sees that the conflict has resolved, and brings the Fantastic Four back to looks like the Fantastic Plane is what it is, and yeah, they just it's like they just came to a resolution here. I was just reading this, but it just seems as though that just reading this, and you can read it through on your own. It's interesting because it seems that Namor has come to their conclusion, as a peaceful conclusion in his own mind, as far as what happened here, as does Reed. And you get to this conclusion, realizing that both Namor and Reed, they really don't want to fight anymore. They don't, and they're not really bad people. And I like how that matter resolves itself. So, but you just never know when the Namor is going to come back. So that is it for this issue. So thank you for turning in.